James, hi.
Morning.
Thanks for being here this morning.
Yeah.
So this book is about your dad's story. So tell us about your dad.
Gosh, my father was James Sr., and he was a 6'4" intrepid mining geologist who was educated in Fairbanks, Alaska, and spent the bulk of his life searching for buried treasure that is the mining industry.
How well did you know him?
My father was a cocktail of a bunch of different things. He was certainly a very brilliant man, but also a man who struggled with mental illness. And so sometimes his illness would manifest in different ways. So he was a very pious man in some ways, and in other ways he was a typical mining promoter who would go out and party and have a good time with his friends.
How long ago did your dad pass away?
10 years.
And so this story, what sort of time period is it based on?
So this story would be starting in late 1950s when my father was a student in Fairbanks in the geology program up there. It's actually ongoing.
There are many mentions of Savannah and Pritchard, Kamloops
right.
throughout the book. Can you explain the local connection?
Absolutely, I can. So my father at one point got very sick and tired of the mining business because it was awash with sociopathic racketeers. And so he took a course on cattle ranching, and he bought a farm in the Deadman Valley, which is just, of course, west of Kamloops. And so he became a rancher almost overnight. And so one of the first memories I have of my father is this very large, tall man with a white Stetson, sitting on top of his swather baling hay.
So tell us about the gold discovery. When did that fit into the whole picture?
Okay, so big time drama here. So Dad was lured back into the mining business. He was summoned to a high-rise, I believe it was in Vancouver, to meet with some financiers. So the purpose of the meeting was to see if my father would go and explore for gold in Mali, West Africa. And at the time, we know he didn't have anything else to do, so he accepted the invitation, and he hired an assistant, and they flew to London and then on to Paris. They picked up a bunch of maps, and they flew into Bamako, Mali.
Were you still back on the ranch near Savannah at this point in time?
At this time, the ranching business had capitulated. The price of beef had crashed, and my father impulsively sold the property, and so we were effectively destitute as a family in Fort Langley, BC.
So what happened when he went looking for gold?
Well, he flew in to Bamako. He had a meeting with government geologists and the Minister of Mines and Tourism at the time. And during the course of the conversation, my father became suspicious in terms of feeling like a pawn in a game to acquire new mining concessions in Mali and to impress the Malians with his geological prowess, okay? Mm-hmm. He flew out to an area of his choosing, which was the Kaniba district. So he hired a plane after about a week of research in the hotel. He hired a plane. He flew out to Kaniba, and he embarked on what could be argued as high adventure. He got to know the locals and was extremely focused on this area because from the air, as he was flying into Kaniba, all of his economic geology suspicions became kind of a reality because from horizon to horizon, what he saw were gold mining shafts in the ground spanning hundreds of kilometers and perhaps thousands of years. And even today, if you were to fly out to Kaniba, people would be mining gold right up to the edge of the runway. So he knew he was in an area of very favorable economic geology because the locals had been mining just like the miners in the Klondike had been mining with pans and buckets and ropes and rock crushers and that sort of thing. Very primitive, but very large scale, very shallow alluvial mining.
So he discovered one of the richest gold mines in history, right?
That's correct. It is. Some say the Sadiola Hill deposit is the richest gold mine ever discovered. So what my father did is he connected the geological dots. So the one major clue was all of the gold in the alluvial strata, which was easily accessible. But what he discovered was a hard rock source of all of that loose, free gold. So he provided concession coordinates and deposit locations for the company.
Why did he die in poverty?
They never paid him. And my father at this time was suffering from terrible, terrible depression, clinical depression. And so it was easy to marginalize him. So in the mining business, with the unbridled pursuit of wealth, you see a lot of dishonesty, to be honest, right? And so yeah, they never paid him, and so he felt that he had a claim. So really, the sort of how it all transpired was he came home from Africa, very tired, but he was very excited, and he told us the night he got home, he said, "Guys, there is more gold in Western Mali than there is oil in Saudi Arabia," and it turned out that he was right. So over a period of a year, he wrote his magnum opus geological report, which had all of the coordinates and all of these things in it. So he flew the report to London, England, and he met with these financiers. So Dad was involved with these people. He gave, and my dad he was a really nice guy and also very naive. The mining business is not a place where you conduct business without contracts. So he, of course, hands over what could be argued as one of the most valuable documents in history in terms of the amount of gold taken out of the ground for nothing. They hadn't even paid his engineering invoices yet. So he passed it over, and the scary part is, and the unbelievable part is, it was a day after or 2 days after, there was an attempt on his life. And a guy came through the window of his rental car, and it was not about taking money. It was about taking his life. And he and the family, we believe that this wasn't a coincidence because of all of the events that happened afterwards.
You have done just a ton of research, it's clear. Why did you want to tell this story?
Well, I loved my father. This is the kind of guy that would pull the kids out of school and take them canoeing and take them prospecting up in the mountains. And my dad was a gentle soul. He was the kind of guy that would come and kneel at our bedside and pray at night, right? And it was just his kindness really was amazing. And so I did it because I love my father. This is an amazing story, and I want to preserve that story. I want to preserve the legacy. And also, honestly, I'm a little bit pissed off with the way he was treated and the way my family has been treated by some very, very wealthy financiers.
Absolutely fascinating. So is it
Thanks,
available in local stores?
Yeah, so the book is called Gold, Bloody Gold. It is not available in bookstores. It is available on Amazon, so all the listeners are 3 or 4 mouse clicks away from owning this book, and it gets delivered right to your door. And of course, when it sells through Amazon, I make a bit more money too.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on this. Thank you for telling us about it.
Absolutely. Thank you.